Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Nick Cosgrove and I'm back with this week's No Filter Q&A. This is the episode where I answer all questions related to diet, training, and supplementation that I received over the past 7 days from our in-house clients, online clients, as well as a few of our online followers. Remember, if you have any questions related to your nutritional plan, workout program, supplements you're taking, not taking, considering taking, please feel free to email me those questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com. Or you can also DM me your questions on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. All right, so let's get started with this week's No Filter Q&A with question number 1. Nick, could you please explain the advantages of doing fasted cardio versus regular cardio? I like doing my cardio in the evening as I feel I have more energy at this time. Yeah, so just to be clear, fasted cardio doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do it first thing in the morning as soon as you wake up and get out of bed. Fasted cardio, you can still do fasted cardio in the evening as long as that cardio is after your resistance training workout, right? So let's say you work all day, you go home, you have your meal, your dinner, meal 5, whatever you want to call it. And let's say it's 6 ounces of chicken breast with a cup of brown rice and some broccoli. Okay, so now you go to the gym afterwards. So to do your resistance training workout, your body's going to utilize those carbohydrates from that pre-workout meal, which in this case would be the rice, to get through your weight training session. Now, your weight training session should be 45 minutes to 60 minutes, no longer. Then you do another 20, 30 minutes of cardio afterwards. To do that cardio, your body is now in a depleted state, so it's going to use fat as its primary fuel source, okay? So the reason I advise my clients to do their cardio in a fasted state is for that reason, is because they're going to be using fat as their primary fuel source. Now, let's say you go to the gym at night and you're only doing cardio, but right before that cardio session, you have that chicken and rice. Well, then your body's going to use the carbohydrates to get you through that cardiovascular session. Yes, you will still lose body fat. You will lose weight, but you're going to lose fat more efficiently and more quickly if you do it in a fasted state. I know there's a lot of new age trainers that argue with that and say, no, that's bro science. Listen, it's not bro science. It works. I've done it myself. I've used it with clients for the past 20 years. It works. If you want to burn fat in a more efficient manner and a more quicker manner, your best bet is to do your cardio in a fasted state. So it can be done. But like I said, you can still do your cardio in the evening. Just do it after your resistance training workout. So do your weights first and then do your cardio after. I remember when I used to prep for shows, that's the way I did it for years, because my first clients would be at 5 in the morning. I'm not going to get up at 3:30 in the morning to go do cardio at 4 a.m. So what I would do is I'd have breakfast, I train all my clients throughout the day, and I'd go to the gym at night, do my hour workout, and after that I do 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, depending how far along I was into my prep of just cardio. So by the time I got on the elliptical or the treadmill, my body was already in a depleted state from the resistance training workout. With me? So that's my recommendation to my clients. You don't have to take it, but it does work. Fasted cardio, in my opinion, is much more efficient than doing cardio in a non-fasted state, if your goal is to burn body fat. Okay, next question. Hi, Nick. I have no motivation to go to the gym and work out these days. What do you do when you don't feel like training? And what do you tell your clients to do when they lack the motivation to exercise? Good question. So I will tell you that of the 6 days a week that I train, there's probably about 4 or 5 of those days that I don't want to train at all. I'm tired. I'm stressed. We're at the end of the year right now, so business is really busy. So yeah, there's been a lot of stress right now. We're in a transition of potentially moving our gym. So there's been a lot of stressful situations that have been coming up in my life lately. So yeah, there's been some stress. There's been some times I don't want to train. So the one thing I always remind myself, and the same thing I tell my clients, is look, if you can set aside 45 minutes or 60 minutes just to get your ass in the gym and do whatever you possibly can. And I say this before, take out all distractions. So no phones, just go in there and turn it into like an appointment in your day. Just like if you have a meeting or appointment with somebody, schedule the gym in the same way. If you do it like this, you're less likely to not show up or skip a workout or skip a cardio session. This is why a lot of people hire personal trainers, for that accountability. A lot of people know how to work out, but they feel that having that trainer by their side holds them accountable for those workouts, because then A, they're paying for the session, and B, it is an appointment, so they can't miss it. Now, it's difficult too. Obviously, with this time of year, with the holidays, there's lots of Christmas parties, people are shopping, it gets a little bit more difficult to make time for the gym. I get that. But if you can just put in your mind that, okay, I'm going to go in the gym 45, 60 minutes. Hell, even if you can do 30 minutes, that's fine. But set aside that time and say, okay, I'm in, I'm out. This is the time. Set your clock, set your watch 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And wherever you end up in those 45 minutes, that's when the workout's done. And honestly, that's what I do. It really does help. I don't know the psychology behind it, but it works for me. If I have a really long day at the gym and I have so many appointments and I got to go home and work for all my online clients, that's the one thing I do. I say, okay, I got my back workout today. I really don't want to train back. I'm tired. But hey, look, I know I can do this for 45 minutes, 45 minutes out of a 24-hour day. I can definitely do this. Get it in, get it out. It might not be the best workout. I might not be hitting any PRs, but at the same time, I get it in. And that's the mindset I use. And that's the mindset that I advise my clients to use when they come to the gym. I say, look, I know you're dealing with shit right now. Everyone's got stuff they got to deal with in their personal lives. But I said, if you can just compartmentalize this into your head and just think, okay, I just have to have this block of period of time throughout my day, schedule in the workout, don't overthink it, don't procrastinate, just go and do it. That's it. There's people that will say, well, you can watch YouTube videos to motivate you. If that motivates you, sure, do it. There's music. Obviously, music definitely helps too. I know for myself, like I like to blare hip hop, old school hip hop sometimes in the gym, or old rock. That helps me. I know if I'm hearing some like pop, that doesn't really motivate me to lift weights. So I'll usually change the music in the gym, or I'll throw my headphones on if I don't like what's playing in the gym. So music is a big one too. But yeah, I mean, honestly, that's what works for me. And that's what I find works for a lot of people I work with. I just kind of simplify it and just say, okay, just get to the gym. And whatever you do in those 30, 45 minutes, 60 minutes, that's it. You're done. Leave. Clock out. And then you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to think, oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. No. 30, 45 minutes, bust your ass, in, out. That's it. If it takes to watch a few YouTube motivational videos, do it. I've never been someone to do that. Music does help, but definitely, guys, music helps. So if you're not listening to music in the gym, that can really, make the chances of being less motivated to go to the gym, especially if you have if you're not listening to music or you don't like the music they're playing in the gym. That makes a big factor, right, for a lot of people. So music is a big thing. So if you don't like the music they're playing in the gym, put on your headphones, play your own mix, but get it done. Next question. Hi, Nick. I'm confused. Trainers at my gym are constantly getting their clients to sit upright while doing lat pull downs on a cable machine. I always thought you were supposed to lean back when doing this exercise. Which technique is the right one? Well, neither technique is wrong. Okay. I'm a little bit more of an old school lifter. So when I have clients do the lat pull down, I usually advise them to lean back slightly. The reason I do that is because I find when someone leans back into a lat pull down, they actually open up their lats more. Whereas if you're upright at 90 degrees, I feel as if you're pulling more with your rhomboids and your scapula. But if you're lean back, what's happening is you're using more of your latimus dorsi and the pull. You're also engaging more of your upper lats and a little bit of your lower lats as well. Remember though, when you're doing a lat pull down, the most important thing is that you're not swinging. This I see all the time, people swinging back and forth using momentum. Well, at that point, that's completely wrong because you're just using momentum and you're using everything except your lats to get the weight down. So it's not that being upright is wrong. It's a different technique. I wouldn't say it's a new technique. I've seen a lot of trainers doing this with their clients as well. But my problem with that particular technique is that you're using more rhomboids and scapula. And all you have to do is if you watch someone doing this, you can see the muscle bellies that are working. The lats are working, but not to the same degree. So I never have any of my clients sit upright while doing a lat pull down. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just a different way of doing a lat pull down. But if someone were to tell me it's better, I would disagree with them. I say, look, what are you trying to target here? If you're trying to target your lats, you're going to want to lean back. Same thing if you're doing a closed grip pull down with your elbows tucked in, you're going to want to lean back a little bit because again, it's going to allow you to open up your lats. If you're forward, you can't open up your lats the same, and you're going to use a lot of your delts, your rhomboids, as I said, and your scapula. So I wouldn't advise you to stay upright. Again, I'm not saying what the trainers at your gym are doing is wrong, but I wouldn't recommend it. Okay. If your goal is to work your lats, lean back about, I would say about 100, 110 degrees. So we're only talking like a difference of like 20 degrees versus what the trainers are having their clients do, right? So it's not a huge difference, but it does open up your lats more. That 20, 30 degree difference makes a huge difference if you're trying to stimulate your muscle fibers in your lats. Next question. Okay. Nick, I know this is a bad excuse, but I honestly don't have free time in my day to work out. I get up at 5 a.m. and only come home around 8 p.m. By the time I get home, I barely have enough time to shower and prepare for the next day. Would you recommend that I eat less calories due to how inactive I am so that I don't gain weight? Okay, first of all, when someone tells me they don't have time to work out, I don't go through the whole, well, 1 hour workout is only 4 or 5% of your day. I used to say that. I think it's like, that's the saying. It's like, what, a 1 hour workout is 5% of your day. I no longer say that. But what I do tell people is, why are you working so hard, so long, draining hours, when your health is at risk? It doesn't make sense. So what I mean by that is I see a lot of people who are working these 12 to 14-hour days, and they're making good money. They're making great money. And they're in their 30s, they're in their 40s. But then what happens is once they get into their 50s, 60s, shit hits the fan. And I've seen it. I have clients where shit has hit the fan. Once they get in their 50s, 60s, they have all these health issues. And it's because when they were younger, in their 30s and 40s, they worked nonstop. They were workaholics. But now they have all these health issues because they didn't take care of their health. So to me, it's almost comical in a way, because it's like you're working so hard for a goal. I don't know if it's to get, advance in your career, or maybe you want to make a lot of money and put a mortgage down on a house, or early retirement, whatever your goal is. But whenever I see people working these crazy hours and not making time for the gym, I'm just like, what are you doing? You realize that you're sacrificing not just your time, but you're also sacrificing your health for what, a job? I mean, I have my own business, and I still make time to work out. I schedule it in. It's that important to me, because I'm like, yeah, once I'm in my 50s, I can have millions and millions of dollars and be set for life. But if my health is shit, what's good is that money? If I have all these issues, what good is that money? And I have clients who are in their 60s, and they'll tell you themselves, one thing they regret is when they were younger was working as much as they did. Every single one of them has said that to me. They'll even tell me, slow down. You don't need to work these hours. Slow down. And now, over the years, I've learned what they were saying to me. I'm like, you're right. Why am I putting this much time and effort into my business without taking care of my health? So now my business does come first, but doesn't come before my health. I would say that it's even with my health. I want to make sure that, yeah, I'm providing a good service to my clients and that my business is doing well. But at the same time, I have to make sure I make time for my health. I have to make sure I make time for my workouts. I have to make sure that I can make time for my meal prep. So I don't put those on the back burner just so I can make a few extra $100,000 a year. No, it's not worth it. Sorry, that was a little bit of a rant, but that's the first thing. So I want to cover that. And the second thing, sorry, what was your question? Okay, would you go lower calories? Well, yeah, if you're less active, you're probably not going to need to consume the same amount of calories. Remember, calories are there to provide energy, right? So someone who is not training is not going to require as much calories as someone who is trained. Like myself personally, I don't know how many calories I consume a day, but carbohydrates, I consume well over 800 grams of carbs a day. Now, if I wasn't working out, or even on the days that I don't work out, I'm not hungry at all. On the days that I take off from the gym, I could go the whole day without eating. I'd be fine. I would have no problem whatsoever. But on the days that I work out, especially after my workouts, I'm like ravenous. I need food right away. So I'm constantly eating. So yeah, I mean, you probably should be taking in less calories if you're not exercising regularly, but you're probably not going to need that many calories anyway, because if you're not exercising, you're fairly inactive and you're sedentary. What do you need a bunch of calories for? You just need the bare minimum just to function throughout your day, right? Obviously, if you go into a caloric surplus, you're going to put on unwanted body fat. So to answer that question, yeah, I would definitely tweak your diet plan based on your activity level. I have people who I train online who are in the gym 6 days a week. You better believe that I have them consuming 3,000, 4,000 plus calories a day. Now, if I have people who I'm working with who are only in the gym 2 or 3 times a week and I'm doing their nutritional plan, I might put them on just anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 calories a day. Again, There's factors to take into consideration: age, gender, lifestyle, activity levels. One of them, as I said. So all these things are factors to take into consideration when you're doing a nutritional plan. But yeah, if you're inactive, I would definitely watch your calories, because you don't want to be putting on unwanted weight. But again, I would also get your ass in the gym and say to whatever you do for a living, to your bosses or to your career or whoever, no, I'm not going to put my career before my health. It's not worth it. Okay. Next question. Nick, are there any advantages to squatting and benching with the big rubber plates? I see so many people using these plates now when they are benching and squatting. I was wondering if there is a reason for this. Ego and stupidity. The rubber plates that you're referring to were designed for CrossFit. Now, if you know anything about CrossFit, you know that they do a lot of ballistic movements. They do a lot of like clean and jerk movements. They do a lot of bringing the barbell up and then dropping it down to the floor. The reason why they have those big rubber plates is so that the bar will bounce with those plates. Now, if you look at people who train like bodybuilders, for example, we're not throwing weights down on the floor. Well, the smart ones aren't throwing weights down on the floor. If you're doing a deadlift, the weight's not just going to drop. You're supposed to control it, right? If you're doing a bench press, you don't drop the weight at all. So there's no reason to have those big, massive plates while doing these exercises. If you're squatting, you never drop a weight on the floor. Why would you ever drop the weight on the floor? You're going to re-rack it on the rack. So what's happened now is, because CrossFit is still popular, and now a lot of these people are doing these clean and jerk movements, they're doing a lot of these power movements, they're doing a lot of these ballistic movements. So a lot of commercial gyms have bought and they put in these rubber plates for those reasons. I have nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you have people who are using them for those exercises, by all means get them, because if you're putting down just the basic steel plates and people are dropping them from the ground, or dropping them from the ceiling, sorry, well, it's going to break the plates and it's going to cause damage to the floor. So that's why those rubber plates now exist. Okay. If you're into CrossFit or any of those movements, you know what I'm talking about. Now, I've seen that myself on YouTube, on Instagram, these people squatting massive plates. And we're talking like the plates are this thick for like a 25-pound plate, and they're huge. And then you lift the plate and it feels like nothing. The reason I say this for ego is because it looks impressive. If you're watching someone squat with the plates and they're loaded on the bar, you're like, wow, that's super impressive. But then you're like, if you actually do the math, it's like maybe 135 pounds max. And I'm like, hold on a second. It looks impressive, but it's really not that much weight. So I think when I see people doing bench pressing with that, for example, I'm like, to them, it's more ego. It's like, wow, it looks like I'm lifting a lot of weight. For me, when I squat, I like to use, I mean, sometimes I'll use rubber plates, but not the ones that are designed for CrossFit, the ones that you're referring to, because there's no reason to. Like, whatever gym I'm at, I still like to use the old school steel plates if I can. And then I can load up the bar and still have room on the bar to keep actually adding plates. So for me, for example, I squat 315. That's 3 45s a side. When I squat that, there's still room for 3 more 45s a side. Now, not that I'm going to be squatting 6 plates a side, but if I wanted to, or if I could, I would be able to, because the steel plates are thin and they're 45 pounds. Those plates are designed for squatting, for bench pressing. The big rubber plates are not designed for that. So it's not strategic. It's stupid. And you know what's even worse is a lot of those rubber plates, they make the bar bounce. So if you're squatting, and so if you're struggling, the big rubber plates are going to actually make the bar bounce, because those plates are designed for 1 or 2 reps. That's it. And then they drop them down. If you see them in CrossFit games or you see them in the competitions, that's what they're designed for. These people are not doing constant repetitions. So to answer that question, no, there's no advantage to doing that. It's just stupidity. And it's kind of like the monkey see, monkey do. You see it at a lot of commercial gyms. You don't necessarily see it at too many private gyms, because there's trainers there and they teach their clients how to train and which exercises to use those plates on and which to not. And the majority of people who are using those plates are not doing the exercises that you would use those plates on. Okay. So to answer that question, I think it's just for ego, stupidity, monkey see, monkey do. But no, if you're squatting and benching, just use the goddamn steel plates that they provide at the gym, or, you know, the rubber hex plates that are thin, not the big thick ones. Stupid. Okay. Next question. Hi, Nick. What do you think about close grip push-ups with your elbows tucked in for hitting the back of your arms? I train at home and only have a few pairs of dumbbells, but here this is a good exercise for your triceps. My boyfriend Mark, who trains with you, says it's not though. Is he right? He is right. So close grip push-ups, elbows in, pushing up like this. This is a very common exercise. I see a lot of women doing this exercise too, because the theory is if they're doing their push-ups like this, elbows tucked in, they're going to work more of their triceps. The problem with that is when your elbows are tucked in, watch my shoulders, I'm pushing my deltoids in. As soon as I do that, I'm putting unnecessary strain on my rotator cuffs and my anterior deltoids. Okay. So what's going to happen is if you're doing this motion over and over again, you risk having shoulder impingement or serious rotator cuff injury. There's all kinds of issues that can happen to your neck erectors just from doing this exercise with your elbows in. So you say you have a pair of dumbbells. There's other exercises you can do to target, by the way, the back of your arms, your triceps. Dumbbell kickbacks would be one of them. So dumbbell kickbacks like so. You could do a double dumbbell extension here. You could do a one-arm dumbbell extension here. There's other exercises that you can do that will take strain off your shoulders that will still stimulate the tricep fibers. If you want to do push-ups, but I would advise you to do wide grip push-ups. Your elbows are out, not in, okay? I don't have any of my clients doing elbows tucked in push-ups. I really don't like that exercise. Again, it's kind of like the deadlifts. I feel like there's more risks to benefits while doing that exercise, so I don't advise it to people. Also, when I do have clients doing push-ups, I usually have them doing the push-ups on a slight incline, so using a bench or a box of some sort, like a jump box, just so, again, it takes strain off your shoulders. Again, I talked about this last week on the Q&A. Doing this, guys, is not natural. It's not a natural movement. Like, if you look at the way, I know I'm a bigger guy, but most people do not sit or stand like this. So by you pushing your elbows in and then doing this, you're putting strain here. You're going to work your triceps to a degree, yes, but at what risk? For what? When you can do dumbbell kickbacks, dumbbell extensions, and if you're at a commercial gym or a private training facility, there's tons of cable exercises. You can do rope extensions, straight bar press downs. You can do easy bar skull crushers, tons of stuff for your triceps that are going to be a lot less risky on your delts. So you want to preserve your joints. So to answer that question, no, I would not advise you to do that exercise. Mark is correct. He knows his stuff, and yeah, I would definitely listen to him in this case. Don't do closed grip push-ups. They're not a good exercise. Okay. Hi, Nick. I have a Christmas party next weekend and bought a really tight dress that I want to look good in. Would you recommend that I stop eating carbs for the next few days to help look a little bit leaner? I know there is no quick fix, but is there anything you can recommend to help me look a bit thinner for this party? Well, you're on the right track. I mean, the thing with carbohydrates is carbohydrates are going to have you retain fluid, right? That's what carbs do. So if you want to appear a little bit leaner, and this only works if your body fat is already fairly lean. So if your body fat for a guy, let's say you're in between that 8 to 10% level, you will notice a difference. And if you're a woman in that 16 to 18%, you will notice a difference if you restrict your carbohydrates for a few days. Absolutely. If you're someone who is fairly overweight, no, you're not going to notice much of a difference because what you're going to lose primarily is this water weight. Okay, so you're on the right page. I wouldn't restrict them completely. I would just lower them and I would increase your fats. So it's the same thing, same way I would diet someone for a bodybuilding show or a bikini competition, exact same format I would use, or even wedding photos is I usually will start, I call it peak week. I hate that term, but I mean, everyone calls it peak week. So it's just easier to call it peak week. So let's say the event is on Saturday. On Monday, what I'll do is I will usually start to drop your carbohydrates very low Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then see how you're looking come Thursday. And if I feel like you're looking a little bit too lean, I might add a little bit of carbohydrates in. But if you're that body type that just kind of holds water, and this is for most women, women tend to hold water more than men do, I will go another day, so that Thursday, and I'll keep the carbs low. And then by Friday, I'll actually start to reintroduce carbohydrates, but start to take down the water, okay? And I've done this for some women getting ready for their wedding, especially when they're doing photos. It works really well. I don't take away their water completely. I never cut water completely, but I just start to decrease it those last, 24 hours before the event. So in your case, it could be something so simple like that. Just be careful if you're drinking. You don't want to be drinking in a dehydrated state. So you're on the right track by lowering your carbohydrates, but I wouldn't take them out completely. I would just decrease them. And again, you kind of have to go by how the body is looking. So like I said, on those first 3 days, what I'll typically do with most people is I'll lower the carbohydrates, and then Thursday, Friday, depending on how the person is looking, I'll start to reintroduce the carbohydrates, but I'll decrease the fluid. And that usually makes people, especially if you already work out with weights, it makes the muscles kind of pop more and gives you that leaner, harder look, which I think looks great on both men and women. So right track. Remember, if you do have any questions with regards to your peak week, hate that, but peak week protocols, whether it's for a competition or for an event coming up, I do offer that as a service. And I can, I try my best to really help you get down. It's like landing a plane nice and smooth to that event. And a lot of it is really, like you said, it's macronutrient rotation comes down to that, and you have to make little revisions along the way. And it's just, there's no one size fits all program though. It really depends on how the person is looking day to day. That's why usually for last week protocols, I ask people to send me daily photos so I can see how they're looking. But yeah, you're on the right track. Lower them, but don't take them out completely. Okay. Nick, what do you think about the concept of building muscle more efficiently by lowering the weight slowly during each rep? For example, a bicep curl during the down phase to go really slow, then quickly back up on the up phase. Do you think this is a good way to build muscle? Yeah, so what you're referring to is essentially the eccentric contraction. So for example, in the bicep curl, the down phase would be called the eccentric contraction, and the up phase would be called the concentric contraction. I like that type of training. It's nothing new. I mean, Dorian Yates used to do that type of training all the time back in the 90s, and he was a 6-time Mr. Olympia. Mind you, he had to stop training because he got injured from all the heavy lifting he was doing and all the intense training he was doing. But I know he was a huge advocate of doing focusing on the eccentric contractions, which was lowering the weights very slowly. Now, I wouldn't advise doing that throughout your entire workout because that'll take you forever. My recommendation is to maybe add 1 or 2 exercises and do 2 or 3 sets, maybe as a burnout set. One of the things you have to remember too when you're lifting weights is if you're going too slow on the eccentric phase, you risk damaging your tendons and your joints. So a good rule of thumb that I usually tell my clients is to use what we call a 1-2 tempo speed, which is 1-2 on the concentric phase, 1-2 on the eccentric phase. Okay. As a reminder, the eccentric phase is not always the down phase of the movement. If you were doing, for example, a tricep press down, right, the concentric phase would actually be here and the eccentric phase would be on the up phase. So that's a good thing to remember too. The eccentric contraction is not always when you're just lowering the weight. The way I would label it is the eccentric phase is what we call the easier phase of the movement. There's always one phase that's more challenging than the other phase, right? For example, in a squat, going down in the squat is not hard, but going back up is the hard part, right? So the down phase would be the eccentric contraction and the up phase would be the concentric contraction on a squat. Is there any benefit to doing eccentric contractions? Absolutely. But again, it's not something that I would advise anyone to do throughout their entire workout for the reason you risk damaging your joints and your tendons. What I would recommend is keep that 1-2 tempo speed and then throw in 2 or 3 sets, preferably once you're warmed up. So let's say to the tail end of your workout, maybe the last 2 or 3 exercises, that's when you want to focus on your eccentric contractions. The last thing you want to do is, put a lot of stress or strain on a tendon when your muscle is cold within the first 10-15 minutes of a workout. Give your body time to warm up and then start throwing that in. But I find what works for most people, honestly, guys, is just following that 1-2 tempo speed. So you're always controlling the weight. If you can't control the weight and it's too heavy, lower it. So by keeping that 1-2 tempo speed, and this is what I advise my clients to do on every exercise that they do in the gym. I don't care if they're training legs, back, chest, whatever, follow that 1-2 tempo speed. So even on a bench press, eccentric phase, 1-2 down, concentric phase, 1-2 up. And if you follow that 1-2 down, 1-2 up, right? That tempo speed works for most people because they can control the weight, okay? So eccentric contractions are nothing new. They've been around for a long time. Dorian Yates really made them popular back in the early 90s. I know he focused on that a lot. It worked for him. He won 6 Mr. Olympias, but again, he had to retire from multiple injuries. And I'm not saying that's just because of the eccentric contractions. I mean, he did train quite intensely, but it's nothing new. And like I said, go for it, do it. But my recommendation is don't do it throughout your entire workout. That's all. And put it more towards the tail end of that workout. Okay. Hi, Nick. Is there any way I can keep that pumped look I have during my workouts all day long? I love the way my body looks when I'm training, but then a few hours afterwards, I look like crap again. Are there any supplements I can take to help me look pumped all day? So the pump that you see in the gym when you're training, let's say, for example, you're training chest. Guy trains chest, his chest gets that pump look. All that pump is a combination of glycogen and blood going to the muscle. Okay, so it gives you that illusion like it's almost like a balloon, like you're filling it up, right? Problem, not the problem, but once you're done training, there's no reason for that blood and glycogen to stay in that muscle anymore. So it now starts to go back out into your body, which is a good thing. You don't want it there all day. That's not a good thing. You don't want that there because then you risk cramping. It's not comfortable, right? Trust me, if you're walking around with pumped chest all day or pumped biceps all day, it's not comfortable. So no, you can't keep that pumped look all day long. But one thing you can do is after your workout is make sure that you replenish your body properly, fuel your body properly with the adequate amount of carbohydrates. Everyone talks about protein after a workout. And yeah, I'm a huge advocate of incorporating protein into your post-workout meal. However, one thing that people tend to forget is carbohydrates is just as important after your workout. So the carbohydrates are going to help replenish the glycogen storages much more efficiently and much more quickly than protein alone. So that's why I don't really recommend post-workout shakes to people unless they have some carbohydrates in them. So if, let's say you're doing a post-workout shake and you mix some dry oats in there or use some waxy maize, just a carbohydrate source. But protein alone, I don't feel is going to be that effective for a post-workout meal. So it's not that you're going to be able to keep that pump look all day long, right? And again, you shouldn't really, I know you want to, but you really don't want to because it's not good for your body. But as long as you fuel your body properly after your workouts, get enough protein, get enough carbohydrates, make sure you're getting supplementing enough healthy fats, you're going to build more muscle, and that will give you the illusion of a more pumped physique per se, right? But to answer that question, no, there's no supplements that you can take either or that I would advise that you take just to have that look for a few hours or throughout the day. It's only going to happen in the gym, guys. And then, yeah, your body will not look like crap, but it's not going to look as pumped post-workout. But if you want it to, if you want to keep building muscle, you have to make sure you're fueling your body properly post-workout. It doesn't have to be within the first 5 minutes after a workout. And I see people gulping down these shakes after a workout. That to me is bro science. As long as you're getting in a proper meal within 2 hours after your workout, I think that's sufficient. That's fine. It doesn't have to be a post-workout shake. It can be, but just make sure you're putting some carbohydrates into that shake. I always advise my clients to make sure that their post-workout meal consists of a combination of high protein, high carbs, and moderate fats. Okay, because throwing the fats in there will allow the body to digest the carbohydrates and protein a little bit more slowly and break it down. Okay, which is actually a good thing. I know people say you want to deliver protein to your muscles right away. There's no timeline. You don't need to get the protein to the muscles right away. It's not like the muscles are going to go to a catabolic state if you don't get protein in them within 5 minutes after you finish your last set. That's not going to happen. Okay, again, bro science. Just make sure you're eating properly, get that meal in within a 2-hour window, and that should be fine. Okay, last question. Nick, do you think celebrities like The Rock and Zac Efron are going to start getting called out on their drug usage now that the Liver King has been exposed? No. Okay, I talked about this last week with the Liver King. The problem with the Liver King, it's not about the fact that he uses steroids. It's the fact that he lied about using steroids and then used his natural look that he claimed he was natural to sell his supplements or to sell his nutritional plans. That's the problem that I have anyway with the Liver King. Guys like The Rock and Zac Efron, it's not that they're saying they're natural. They're not going out there and telling people they're natural. They're not saying anything. I've never seen The Rock once claim that he's natural. I mean, I don't follow Zac Efron, but I know I covered something on his a few weeks ago on the Q&A about his massive gains of his physique. But neither one of them claim to be natural. At the same time, they're not trying to promote a healthy lifestyle from being a natural bodybuilder. They try to promote a healthy life. I know The Rock does anyway by, training regularly, eating, following a clean diet. But what you do behind closed doors, that's your business, right? So just because The Rock uses steroids, who cares? He's not using that to promote himself. He doesn't use his body to try to sell a supplement brand, for example, which was what the Liver King was doing. The Rock is making movies, right? That's what he does. He's a celebrity. Before that, he was a wrestler. Did he use steroids when he was a wrestler? Absolutely. Is he using steroids now? Absolutely. 100%. I put my entire portfolio on it. But again, who cares? He's not out there saying, I don't use steroids, so you shouldn't use steroids. He's not saying anything. So that's the main difference. Guys like the Liver King, who are out there saying, be natural, I'm 100% natural, I train hard, I eat smart and buy my supplements and eat this liver. And it's all bullshit, because at the end of the day, if he had just said, yeah, I do all those things, and I truly believe that he does all those things, I truly believe he eats liver, I truly believe he takes his supplements, I truly believe that he trains like a madman in the gym, but leaving out that little side note that you're also taking anabolic steroids, you just screwed yourself and you've ruined your PR, pretty much. That's it. Because people can't trust you anymore. So I'm sure if he had come out originally and said, yeah, you know what, I take anabolic steroids, most people wouldn't have cared. Like, okay, but you're still in great shape and you still promote a healthy and active lifestyle. So, for myself, I have no problem taking advice from guys in the gym who are enhanced, even though I'm natural, because they still know how to train, they know how to eat. And yeah, they're bigger than me or they're leaner than me, but I'm not going to say, oh, they're cheaters because they're using anabolic steroids. They're open about that. That's a personal choice somebody's making. So to be called out for it, it's like, no, who cares? I don't care if The Rock's taking steroids. If you actually think that Rock is natural, then you're naive. Okay, he's not natural. But again, he doesn't claim to be natural. Okay, so no, I don't think The Rock's going to be called out. And no, I don't think Zac Efron's going to be called out, because they're doing it for a certain look for the roles that they're in. Okay, that's it. And I see nothing wrong with that. Okay, that I don't know what their blood work looks like. I assume because, they're celebrities, they go regularly, I would hope, to the doctor and get blood work every 6 months just to make sure everything's in check. But they're not using their bodies to promote a supplement brand or to people to buy their nutritional plans and say, you're going to look like me. Neither one of them are doing that. So no, I don't think they're going to be called out. I don't think anybody who's a celebrity who is taking steroids, fat burners, are going to get called out for any of this. But they do, again, behind closed doors. That's their business, right? As long as they're not lying to the public and saying, yeah, you can look like me if you take this supplement that's over the counter and full of fucking pixie dust. That's what pisses me off. And that's what pissed me off about the Liver King. Okay. That little lie, which turned into a big lie, has huge consequences. And that's why I don't know if this is going to hurt his PR or if it's going to do better for him. I mean, some people do better when there's controversy. So who knows? Maybe more people are going to start following him now on YouTube, and maybe his whole social media persona will explode because of this. Apparently he claims that he's going natural now. So I don't know. Anyway, guys, that's it for this week's Q&A. This episode will be going up on Wednesday evening. As a reminder, if you do have any questions related to your diet, training, or supplementation, please feel free to email me those questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can also DM me your questions on Instagram at @fitcausgrowth_. As a reminder, before I go, for our in-house clients and online clients, our holiday gift cards are back in stock. Okay, so you can either DM me and I will send you a gift card for the amount that you'd like, or for a training package for your friend, loved one, or you can come pick one up at the gym. I will be at the gym every day until Christmas. I'll be taking Christmas Day off, but if you want to come pick one up, I'll be there, or one of the trainers are there. You can pick one up and just tell us the training package you want, but they are available. Okay, guys? So any questions on that, feel free to either email me or DM me, shoot me a message, and I'm happy to help. Okay, guys, thank you all for watching. Have a great evening, and I will see you all next week.